put it bluntly.
Hello everyone, welcome back, and it's episode 11 now of To Put It Bluntly. Feels just like yesterday, we recorded episode 10, but that's how time flies. My name is Cameron Keywood, and I am joined by my co-host.
The Wobbly Gamer.
And we are also joined by a very special guest, one of the pillars of the accessibility community, if you didn't be called.
I think that's a fair term of phrase, yeah.
I'll let him introduce himself.
You are far too kind, both of you. Hello, everybody. I am Sightless Kombat, award-winning multi-credited accessibility consultant and gamer without sight, as well as being RNIB's accessible gaming officer, RNIB being Royal National Institute of Blind People, the UK-based sight loss charity, as well as of the time of this recording.
So, I obviously know you quite well, Sightless. You are, hands up to state, one of the reasons I started doing this, kind of...
He's like your Master Yoda.
Yeah, it feels like that some days. And I obviously know your story and quite a lot about you and why you do what you do and how you do it so bloody well. But there's probably quite a few people listening to this that, one, have heard of you, but two, don't know the story behind Sightless, if we can put it that way.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, so in terms of, I mean, I've never had any sight whatsoever. There, let me try that again. It's all good. So I have never had any sight whatsoever. That's why I use the term gamer without sight, because, you know, people often say, oh, are you a blind gamer? I'm like, technically, yes, that's true, but also no, because legal blindness as a term is often just shortened to being blind. And, you know, legal blindness can and often does include usable and or residual vision, which I've never had. So I use that term to try and clear it up with people so that they know, oh, you can't see anything at all. But even then, I've still had questions of, how much can you see then? I'm like, I've just told you. So,
Yeah.
It's in the name. It's kind of...
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I've been gaming for decades at this point. Started out with PC titles to an extent, with things like Fighter Pilot, and you know, so not really sort of big known games that people would have necessarily heard of, unless they've heard me speak and say about this before, which is a possibility. And you know, but in terms of that, I was just pressing buttons, didn't really understand how any of it worked. I didn't know that screen readers existed. I didn't know that, you know, any of that worked, or, you know, how it worked at all, if I did know it existed. And I was just pressing buttons and nosediving planes into literally unseen territory. So, you know, it's just one of those things where I was just like, I'm enjoying this for what it is. No real understanding of how video games work at all. But then I went from there to audio-only games, audio games as they're commonly known. Was introduced to those through what would now arguably be termed as a point-and-click adventure game, but it isn't that exactly, because it's all keyboard-driven. Much like a game that I worked on relatively recently, Stories of Blossom, in that respect, in that it's a point-and-click adventure. But with the game I'm on about, Grizzly Gulch Western Extravaganza. I mean, what a name! But that is essentially set in the Old West. You talk to a host of ridiculous characters, including people who own casinos, the bank, the marshal, and various felons who've escaped through various comedic means as well. And you learn about, you know, gambling, gunfights, and bribery. All great things to learn about from a very young age. No, no. But
it's how everybody learns. GTA.
Yeah. GTA.
I guess. Yeah, but it was that was a very interesting game. But unfortunately, of course, audio-only games aren't great for people who don't just want to see a logo on a screen, which is what most audio game art kind of consisted of back then. I mean, audio games do have rudimentary graphics at times, or sometimes they have even better than rudimentary graphics, but they are primarily sound-based. And the thing with that is, sighted players, I've realized, didn't want to engage with that. So I then went from audio games to like the PlayStation 1 kind of thing, so Street Fighter, Tekken 3, those kinds of things, and just whatever I could attempt to play. I wasn't very good at it, partly because, of course, accessibility wasn't really a thing back then.
No, it wasn't. Yeah.
not like inherently anyway. And the funny thing about it is, of course, you then have things like move lists with color coding. So I would have people around me, sighted people trying to give me a hand and say, there's a red arrow, a yellow arrow, and a green foot. I'm like, what does that mean? It's like, I don't know. And it's like, why is that? It's like you go, so there's a left arrow, a right arrow, and a blue fist. It's like, why is that color then? It's like, I don't know.
I don't know yet.
Like none of us knew, and it was just a matter of pressing buttons and see what happened, much like Fighter Pilot. But then from there, technology's moved on. I've stayed gaming ever since, pretty much. And I did that to kind of engage with my peers as well, to have stuff to do, alongside my sighted friends. I wasn't necessarily good at fighting games, but had a laugh with it, even if they were being very, very cheap because they could see what they were doing, whatever, or they could see what I was doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you keep avoiding that? I can see what you're doing. It's like, oh, so, but yeah, like I then went from there to, I've moved through all the various iterations of PlayStations and then Xboxes and things, and to where we are now, where it's PS5, Xbox Series XS, PC, and I do have a Switch. I do have a Nintendo Switch, but the accessibility on that, unfortunately, is
To be desired.
not ideal. Well, yeah, there are elements of it that I would love to see improved in future iterations of the hardware and the software as well. Not that there aren't games that could be or are playable on there, but the fact of the matter is, without sight and or without assistance, they are tricky things to use. As is a Steam Deck without Windows on it. I do have one with Windows on it, but again, whole other discussion. But yeah, I play lots of video games. I write reviews. I stream on Twitch and on YouTube as well. I post my thoughts to social media. I, put stuff up on my website, including a guide I've helped co-write with a fellow gamer without sight and a wonderful individual who worked on the game itself. That guide and game being for God of War Ragnarok.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's really cool.
And the wonderful Mila Pavlin, who worked on the game as well. I'm actually in the credits for that, which was a lot of fun. And SLJ, the fellow gamer without sight, who
Wobbles just looking really jealous right then. Just look, the envy on his face when he's in the credits.
I want to delve into. You've said that you're credited on God of War. That's obviously not the only title you're credited on. How did you get into accessibility consulting as a profession, as a career? Because I haven't heard that side of it. I don't know how, if you woke up one morning and just went, I'm going to do this, or
well, not really. It wasn't so much waking up and realizing I was going to do it. It was mostly, so I started out doing so my reviews didn't start out necessarily as reviews. That wasn't necessarily the intention at the beginning. It was mostly the idea of unboxings, because I'd seen a bunch of unboxing videos and I was like, what? There is so much missing from here in terms of detail, in terms of information, in terms of like, because they say, oh, this thing, and then they go on to the next thing. It's like, oh, and this thing. It's like, oh, you're not gonna like say how you've got into there or anything. Like when they're doing official unboxings and showing off where everything is, how it all fits together. And I was like, what if I get this product through, like whatever product it is, and I want to set it up myself? And that was kind of where it started. It was like, if I get a thing through like an Xbox or whatever, if I've ordered it off, I don't know, a retailer, I don't know, Amazon or whatever, and I get it through, what then happens if, I want to, set it up myself without assistance? What do I do? And that's where it kind of started with the unboxing instructions. And then I went from that to sort of writing reviews as I went along. So it's like, this is how you set it up. This is how you plug everything in. And then everything didn't work because I needed to use a QR code or whatever it happens to be. And then acknowledging where I got assistance with it, acknowledging the issues, etc. Sometimes they would be products I'd bought. Other times I would have reached out to people and said, hey, can I review this for accessibility? So, a mixed bag of things. I'm always up to continue reviewing hardware and software. It doesn't matter whether it's directly, a game, or whether it's stuff like a graphics card. I bought a graphics card as a gift once, several years ago. And that was my first actual graphics card. At which point I then realized that Killer Instinct would not run on integrated graphics because it was like, it gave the most wonderful error message. The display driver has stopped responding, but has recovered. And that was the error. And it just sat there. I was like, what? And then you plug an integrate, like an actual GPU into it. And it's like, oh, it works now. And it works well. Who knew?
Yeah.
Yeah, so but then the actual accessibility consultancy side really started from when I undertook my Winston Churchill traveling fellowship. God, that was 7 years ago now. Wow, that's scary. That's a sobering thought. I mean, partly because E3 was still a thing back then, and
Rest in peace.
well, exactly, yeah. So a Winston Churchill traveling fellowship, essentially, the Winston Churchill Memorial Trust funded me, and they fund other people as well, to go to different destinations in the world and bring information about the impact of that back to the UK. And the thing about that, and then to sort of disseminate it for wider audiences, I wanted to do. I applied. I got in. I said I basically wanted to do a fellowship around accessibility in the video game industry, and I got funded to fly around the States for 5 weeks with assistance, and got to see some amazing places. I got to go to E3, my very first E3. I think it was the first one that was open to the public as well, from what I remember. So
yeah,
that
I
was
think that tracks. Yeah,
that was
'cause it
very,
was a
very cool.
trade, wasn't it, before?
Yeah, basically it was just like the people they wanted to let in. Well, not wanted to let in. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a tiny number of people before. But then it was like massive public opening thing. So I got to go to E3. I was there at the reveal of the official name of the Xbox One X.
That's cool.
I believe I think that's where they revealed the name for it. And as well as, of course, all the games there, because I was in the Microsoft press conference. I was actually in the crowd when they did that. I got to see Harmonix. I went to see NetherRealm Studios, the makers of Mortal Kombat. I went to see Valve. I mean, they let me into Valve. Like, that's the thing that most people are surprised about is that they let me out of Valve afterwards.
With the knowledge,
yeah, pretty much the knowledge of being able to go into Valve. I remember somebody jokingly said to me once, "They let you leave?" I was just like, "Yeah, they did." So that was absolutely amazing, absolutely wonderful. And I wrote this big long report about it. That was kind of the way it worked. You had to write a report when you got back, and there's a few photos in there as well. I got to see the 343 museum where they have all like the Halo merch and stuff. That was very, very cool. It was cool to be able to see, go toe to toe with a replica of a life-sized Spartan, that kind of thing, and like a brute and everything, because you have descriptions of these things either in your head or from other people or online. Online ones are extremely rare. They shouldn't be that rare, but they are. But being able to stand next to it, like literally, within sort of reaching distance, you get the sense of, my goodness, they're massive. These characters are huge. And that sense of scale is just absolutely brilliant, and the sense of atmosphere as well. But yeah, that's kind of where the consultancy started, going out and being able to talk to all of those people, network with wonderful folks at Microsoft and places like that, and get those conversations started. I suppose that was kind of how it began. And then I was able to go out the following year as a guest of the ESA to E3, which was huge, to my next E3, where I was then present for the reveal of Gears 5, which I also am credited in, or I've credited as having worked on, and Halo Infinite as well, which I'm also in the credits for, the online credits. But that was amazing being there for that double reveal. I always remember when they revealed. Well, they went to reveal Gears 5, or at least we thought they did as an audience, and then it turned out to be Gears Pop, and everyone was like, "Yay! Wait, what?" like they saw Gears on screen. They were like, it was just that moment, like that universal moment of, "Yes! Oh my god, it's Gears!" Wait, what?
Yeah.
I love that.
Finals, and then eventually it was like, now I can't remember the exact line that was said, but it was along the lines of, "Oh, now the moment you've all been waiting for." Gears 5, and we were like, "Yay!" So that was fun to be there in person for that.
Like,
Yeah,
E3 will be missed because we still have awkward moments at conferences. Like I remember a couple of years ago, at one of Jeff Keighley's, they showed like the new Final Fantasy, I think Rebirth, like a bit of
oh
Rebirth. Then, and
yeah.
more Final Fantasy news. You can get 10% off your order with DoorDash, and everyone was just like, "What the hell, Jeff? Why,
Oh
why, why
wow.
get our hopes up like I just a dash in?" But yeah, E3 was like, everybody like that week. He just stay up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Watching, yeah,
Yeah.
waiting.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's nothing like being in the room though when those reveals
yeah.
happen. The
I can
big
imagine.
sound systems and even of course just hearing world premiere, which is
Oh God, yeah.
like
That'll
hearing
get
that in
repetitive.
person. You just like all sort of the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and then you're like, "Ooh, what's this going to be?" And then it's like, "Oh, a game I'm not going to be able to play."
Yeah,
That's what I usually end up wondering as I watch trailers.
That's the perfect segue, because I was about to touch on that, saying, what is it like? Because I know for a fact there's certain games I won't be able to play, real-time strategy games and things like that. But it's a whole different kettle of fish for yourself, isn't it? Because one of the things I say to game devs is talk about how accessibility information needs to be released early. Because the best bit, one of the best bits about gaming is the hype, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Totally.
And
yeah.
What's it like for yourself if you don't know, if you haven't worked on a game, or what's it like when the games are announced and you've now got to sit there and wait?
I mean, it's a tricky question. It's a good one though. It's one of those things where I end up thinking, "Oh, that looks cool," but I probably won't be able to play it
And that,
because
yeah,
like it's always that little caveat at the end. Like it's just a constant because accessibility hasn't been standardized. It hasn't been integrated, looked at to the full extent, particularly for gamers without sight. Like we've seen progress in the last few years. Whether that progress is going to continue as it has done is unclear. The future is looking kind of uncertain at the moment. And there are people wondering, when is the next fully accessible game going to come out? Because there's not been much in the way of, actual broadcast of that seeming to happen imminently. And having that constantly be a thing, it does wear on you. It really does. And when games that could be accessible aren't, or games that are nearly accessible don't quite reach that. So, like if a game's combat has full unintended accessibility, but then the menus aren't narrated, or there's no nav assist or whatever, that is a huge point of frustration and just not anxiety, but it's sadness, I guess, is the best way I can describe it at the moment. It's like that other people are going to be able to enjoy it. That anyone, technically speaking, anyone with a greater level of vision than you can enjoy it in theory. And feeling that exclusion is never a good thing. Just knowing that you won't be able to be a part of it, because it's not just about the hype, it's about the culture. It's about being able to share those moments with your mates. Like when I'm trying to think I mean, I know you and I have talked about various games over the years, even when stuff like Forza came out, and I was discussing it with you. I wasn't sure how you'd got on with it, whether you tried it, and the eventual result was, let's have a race.
And
Let's do this.
I
talk
talk
the story
about
a few times.
I talk about Forza more than I talk about any other game now, because of the story, the impact of that story, me explaining to developers that if you do it right, a blind guy can beat a sighted guy in a racing game. But two, how it took a real life activity that me and you were not allowed to do ever.
Well, I mean, that's not technically true.
No, it's not. We can do it, but not on the roads. They're not going to.
Not
legally.
Not licensed as insured drivers.
Yeah, and that's what I say to people. It's taken.
I can't be dealing with a lawsuit.
It's taken an in real life activity that's not necessarily accessible to us, and made it accessible to our community, and not only accessible, but accessible to the point where you're better at it than me, and you've
only on I'm gonna be that person who gives the caveat for this. only on oval tracks.
You don't tell people that at the moment. We can.
Yeah, that's the first I've heard of it. We'll cut this. Don't worry, we'll cut it.
No, I always do. You know why? Because I don't want to make it seem like the systems necessarily are absolutely flawless. Like the systems are great. What's been done has been a great beginning to sort of, it's the way I look at it is accessibility is about setting bars for the industry to surpass, not just to reach for. So Last of Us 2, it was a great cohesive package. It had a few cool ideas of its own as well. But equally, then other games have gone on to then be like, right, how can we do other types of similar system differently? So God of War Ragnarok, there is a similar nav assist system in that. And yet, even though you've got like ranged elements, you've got melee elements as well. And you can now, with the way that game works in particular, you can lock on, you can run in, the cues are there to dodge, block, parry, all those kinds of things. And, that's kind of an evolution of where Last of Us took it, I think. And, even with part 1, when they added audio description into it, and then they went back and did No Return in part 2 when they remastered it, everybody was like, why is Last of Us part 2 getting a remaster? It looks amazing. And then, I'm having to stand there and say, because accessibility options.
Yeah.
And the fact that I could go in and play No Return, if you want to see the first impressions of that, I do have a video where I showed off part of a run as well on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, we'll link it below.
Yeah,
We'll link all the links.
Yeah, and the fun thing about that was it then did what Dead Space 2 had done many years earlier by adding a way to switch where your objective was taking you, where Nav Assist would take you. So you could choose to go to like the Dead Drop, where you sort of cash in items in your inventory for a bonus reward if you get through the encounter. Or, you can go to the safe or to combat or to the supply cache or whatever. And you can switch that in the middle of the actual encounter so that once all the enemies are gone, or if you want to try and sneak to the safe without being like spotted and absolutely annihilated by everybody because they've all got guns or whatever it is, or just because it's all clickers, then you can do that. And it's great to see that evolutionary process. Forza has the same sort of thing whereby we've seen this is the first AAA racing game to try and do this. And like I know I've seen people getting around proper tracks with sort of the various cues and things. I personally can't do that. Maybe I'll be able to one day, but the point is that is the beginning of how we get that to happen universally for even more people. So it's amazing to see it happen. Even with Diablo 4, that's just had overworld nav assist added, navigational assistance, audio cues, where you just follow a ping that changes slightly depending on whether you're facing the right way, exactly nearly the right way, or the wrong direction. You can follow those cues in the overworld and get pretty much mostly where you need to be, with a few exceptions. But that's the beginning. That's ongoing accessibility work. They've done a fantastic job, that team. And it's ongoing progress. And that's what we need to see from the entire rest of the industry as well. Whether you're indie, whether you're massive AAA dev, everybody needs to be doing it, because the next evolution isn't going to be in graphics, isn't going to be in power of consoles. I've seen discussions around that very recently around, diminishing returns. So I think the next evolution, really, the next sort of area of innovation proper should be and deserves to be accessibility.
100%.
Not just for gamers without sight, but for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the graphics can't get much better without actually becoming like freaky, like iRobot looking stuff.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, like
I love that point though.
Yeah, that's why I started the game jams, really, because it's trying to focus it on indie. So like I'm on a break at the minute, but the next one is like quite ambitious. I think I've told Wobbles like.
Yeah.
Ooh, intriguing.
I can tell you later. I'm not ready to reveal it. I'll tell you later.
Oh, okay. So stay tuned for that, everybody.
Yeah, stay tuned for that. No, but it is like quite ambitious. I'm hoping to get some stuff for that. But anyway, moving on from
moving on from interesting,
moving on
super
from
secret project
secrets
stuff. Yeah.
Let's discuss. So you're I don't know if the role at the RNIB. Let's touch on that.
When you first said that, I thought it was the Royal National Institution of Birds. I was thinking, that's pretty cool.
Don't. So, I volunteer for them, and the amount of times I've asked people, "How do you save lives at sea?" I'm like, "What?"
Oh yeah. I think somebody misheard me once as saying RNID, which is the Royal National Institute for the Deaf, or for deaf people.
They start talking louder.
Yeah.
That's usually what happens when somebody says, "Oh, you're deaf." What? Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry about yeah.
But yeah, my role at RNIB is essentially what I did before I joined, which is what I iterated earlier. So I write my reviews, I do consultancy with clients, I stream, I do all of that, and equally, of course, I've been able to be a part of RNIB's opportunities as well. Stuff like Design for Every Gamer, launching that initiative last year, which was very, very good fun. I got to work with the wonderful Behaving Beardley, who's a Sea of Thieves player, partner, pro. It was a partner back then. I'm not sure. I think he was a partner back then, but I'm not sure what's happened since because a lot's changed with that game. Anyway, but the point being, it was a fantastic opportunity to be able to sort of launch that. I know you did stuff with that, Wobbles, as well.
Yeah, I played with the lovely
Nightinator,
Nightinator.
Yeah.
And we played Apex Legends very, very badly, but we gave it a good shot.
That's half the fun of it, though. Playing it badly to showcase the accessibility improvements needed, I think, is the way to look at a lot of this stuff. I do what I can in Sea of Thieves. I will, if you ever see me playing Sea of Thieves, I will go. I'll be on helm, I'll be on cannons, I'll be fishing, I'll be cooking occasionally.
I'm going to step in here. I do what I can. Sightless, you're very good at Sea of Thieves. Blow your own trumpet a little bit, mate. Don't play that card on us. Don't go all modest. You hold your own. Let's be honest.
I just don't want to come across as bragging too much. No, but in terms of Sea of Thieves, the team have done a great job in terms of continuously sort of iterating on things. That there is an awareness that things aren't where we would like it to be. We being, all of us, the team, me, other people as well. But the key thing is now, because of the work that I've done, the work that other people have done as well with the team, I can now snipe skellies from the ship using an eye of reach without having to set foot on land.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Big shout out, Topher.
Exactly. Big shout out to the wonderful Topher, who's also done great presentations and stuff on that as well. I believe he called it Equal Opportunity Piracy, which is great.
I loved it. Yeah.
That was a great name for the presentation, a great title for it. But yeah, in terms of RNIB stuff, like being able to be involved with the DFEG, the Design for Every Gamer initiative, has been great as well. And you can find links to that in the description as well, I'm sure, when this goes out.
Be there.
And I mean, it's an ongoing effort to try and increase awareness of the need for greater and improved accessibility for gamers across the spectrum of sight loss, because of course sight loss is a spectrum. Even if you've got the same or like a similar level of sight, that can drastically change how you play games, even if you've only got slightly more vision or whatever it happens to be. And even then as well, the key thing to remember is if you've got two gamers with absolutely no sight whatsoever, that doesn't mean they're going to be playing the same way. I've seen that firsthand in my discourse over the years, where one person will say to me, "Oh, I did this in half an hour," and then I'm like, "Yeah, I couldn't do it without assistance."
Yeah,
whatever it happens to be.
I think a good example of that was when Spider-Man 2 launched, and there was some broken features within the accessibility. And I was seeing so many people go, "I can't do this bit, but I can do this bit," and it was like people just coming together and going, "Right, if you help me do this bit, I'll help you do that bit." And there was so much of that, especially inside the blind community, because there was people that could do one thing and people that can do, and it was just like, right, if we all kind of come together, we can do this.
I mean, it doesn't. I wasn't necessarily involved in that side of it because I don't think I'd necessarily got that far. Well, maybe I had got that far. I can't remember. I think I had assistance to do that part on stream, but we'd realised how broken it was, and that was why we did it. Because I only really get my co-pilot to step in with those kinds of games where it's me sort of primarily doing everything. when it's absolutely necessary. So let's say we've got to a Ragnarok where the navigation assist wouldn't necessarily lead you to where you need to be, and then you have to, sort of make all these little tiny adjustments or whatever you have to do, or to track things on the map is a better example. So if I know I want to go and fight a berserker, one of the optional bosses, I can't do that on my own, unfortunately, at least not at the current time. And I had to then get my co-pilot to say, right, I'll track this, and then I can navigate from there, because the nav assist knows where to point me to, roughly at least. So having to enlist people as co-pilots, amazing, fantastic people I've worked with over the years of doing this. That's a thing that I don't necessarily like to have to do. I love working with everybody, don't get me wrong, but it would be even better if I could just do everything on my own anyway. Just play all the games with 100% accessibility, so I can choose what I play, I can enjoy whatever it is I'm playing, and I know it's going to be my kind of thing, and I know I'm not going to have to be like, can you come and help me with this puzzle? It's broken again.
Yeah, we've already had one of your co-pilots on. We had Francois on.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, you did. I forgot you did an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the way back at number 4.
Frank and I recently played Space Marine too. It's the rule of how we say it on stream. It's not Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. No, it's Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, because of course the orcs.
We played through the campaign with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. The funny thing was, I hadn't played it yet, so
you came in and was like, I can't watch.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't watch, but also I can't watch because
you didn't miss much. You missed about 40 minutes of setup. You missed about 40 minutes of trying to get into a game together, and then maybe one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
It's one of those games that I definitely want to go back and finish. There are so many games in my backlog that I would love to either play or finish. And it's a matter of finding the right people, finding good co-pilots. Well, finding co-pilots at all is a tricky task, but it's great when it goes well. Yeah. Shout out to Janissary, to Gibbon, to Frank, to all the wonderful people I've worked with over the years, to DB as well, of course. And I've found these people just through asking around and basically saying, hey, would you like to collaborate with me? Or sometimes it's, I want to play this game. Can anyone help? And then people come back and say, yeah, I'll play through it with you. And then you sort it out after that. But, being able to do that and sort of talk about it, even on RNIB streams as well, when I stream for RNIB, even with yesterday's stream of Diablo 4, I started playing, and then Kath, one of my regulars, joined because we'd not planned it in, but we'd penciled it in that, it was fine. It wasn't an issue. Just drop in, let me know you're there, and we can set it up. And then after I said, oh, anybody else wants to join in the fun of just us going through and absolutely slaying our way through like the levels and everything, the mission, the quests in the campaign, I then had Gecko, one of my other regulars, join, and then TJ, who is an absolutely phenomenal Diablo player, at least compared to me, absolutely brilliant at it, with no sight as well. He then joined in and was giving us a hand as well. He's much higher level than I am at the moment, but he's doing absolutely amazing work with it. So it was all brilliant chaos in the name of accessibility and showing how it works with what you might term as a mixed team, as in a team of consisting of a mixture of gamers without sight and gamers with varying degrees of vision as well. So yeah, always good to be able to showcase that kind of stuff off as a part of my role too.
Yeah, it's been what? Have you done it 2 years now?
Yeah, just over 2 years.
Yeah, and it's been great to see, and it's nice to say when a charity like the RNIB gets involved, it's only going to hopefully be positive and good, because they are such a massive organisation with a lot longer arms than, say, myself and other white people in terms of accessibility reach and social media reach.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things where, even if you just talk to people about accessibility from that standpoint, sometimes you will get. I mean, I've done presentations I got to do a presentation to Xbox not too long ago, and that was great, being able to do that and just be like, hey, this is a thing, and then also be able to say, yeah, RNIB is doing work in the gaming space. Here's information. So even just being able to throw it out there as well is good, because then it sort of keeps the issue at hand in the mind of people who are watching it, who are sort of, well, either they're not aware of it or they're trying to keep track of how progress is going. And even when we're able to sit here and say progress has happened, it's nowhere near as fast as we'd like, and more needs to happen because it seems to be slowing down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's good to be able to then say those kinds of things and have it be understood, even if it takes a while for things to end up happening in general. As most of you will all know, that's kind of just how it works. Things take time, game dev takes time, accessibility takes time. But if the end result is fully accessible games, I don't really mind how long it takes, as long as we know it's going to happen, and as long
I
as we can be confident in that.
would like to say that is a phenomenal point to stop the first part of the episode on, because I think you've nailed a lot of feelings that I cooperate with you on, that it does take time. And it is frustrating when it doesn't happen. But it's patience of abundance, especially with yourself and other sightless gamers.
Patience and constructive feedback. They're the two. Constructive critique. Patience and constructive critique. They're the two big sort of learnings, takeaways, whatever, that are useful to have.
You're not going to get anything. You're not going to get anything by swearing and shouting.
No,
you're just going to detract from it. So but
no.
It's
so
time to move on.
That's
to the news.
We will be jumping over to patch notes. We'll have a 2-minute break. So see you shortly.
And now a return to your regularly scheduled programming.
We are back, and as you can tell, we are still joined by the amazing Sightless Kombat, and we will be doing a patch notes partner preview program special. There's a lot of P's there, and I was expecting to lose my teeth.
Just like you recording these podcasts.
Yeah,
a lot of P's.
There's a lot of P's. Yeah. So,
I'd argue a probably perfect performance there.
I can't believe I nailed that. I'm well impressed with myself.
I would be too if I tried to say that on stream and actually succeeded.
So this week, as most people probably know that listen to us, because gamers all tend to know when these things happen, we had the Xbox partner preview. It was, as we spoke about earlier on, we've obviously lost the grand days of E3, Gamescom release. I know we've still got Gamescom, but they don't tend to announce games as much.
Gamescom is just opening night live, really, for announcements.
Yeah. So we had Xbox partner preview, where Xbox again announced a plethora of games, DLC editions, and some new titles. Some indie titles, and there wasn't really a brand new AAA title. Wu Chang Fallen Features was,
Well, no, that was Fallen Feathers kind of is Firebreak. FTC Firebreak.
We will touch on that. Phasmophobia is coming as well.
Yeah, Chronos New Dawn is also a sort of AAA. It depends on how you look at Bloober Team.
Yeah, so we've got again Xbox 4 weeks after PlayStation announcing some big titles. It's kind of getting to the point now where we're waiting for a massive one. We're waiting for a Gears of War 6, or we're waiting for the next iteration of Spider-Man. It's kind of getting to that point now where we're waiting for one of them to just drop the bomb. Yeah,
we're waiting for release that. I think Gears E-Day. I am genuinely so excited about the possibility of that. That's going to be huge whenever that drops. I reckon it's going to be a couple of years, maybe. But I don't mind when it drops, as long as I can play it without needing assistance. That's my general thing. And as for you said about Spider-Man, Wolverine
is that's the one that everyone's
at some point. I mean, if Insomniac can do what they did with Spider-Man 2, but improved even more, and for Wolverine, then you probably won't see me for a while. Actually, no, you will see me. You will just see me streaming Wolverine. Just that on every stream for a week or two.
I really enjoyed the 2009 Wolverine game, based on the film.
Oh yeah.
I played the demo of that for ages because it was the same part.
Mm.
That's a game we can play classic, and Wobble's new classic retro.
Yep.
X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Indeed. But yeah, in terms of the partner preview stuff, like there's a lot to like, and I tell you what's even better: the fact that it was an audio described stream.
I was waiting for that.
Courtesy of, well, amongst others, the wonderful Janissary of Descriptive Video Works and colleagues, of course, doing a phenomenal job. And that's the thing. If you audio describe your live streams, I will come along and watch. And by live streams in this case, I'm talking about like showcases, game reveals, like trailers, feature. Basically, if you audio describe your videos for your game, in terms of that, then I will gladly come along. And
it's that if we build it, they will come. If we make it accessible, they will come. Yeah.
I can't imagine like alt text or like audio for an Hideo Kojima trailer. Like,
well, I mean,
half the stuff he comes out with is like, there's black ooze coming down the walls.
Well, yeah, it's like you just go with it. You just like, okay, like even with the New Dawn trailer yesterday, it was like flicking between sort of chess stuff, like a chess match and a near battle with a thing. It was like, okay, this is happening now, and it's like, oh, there's blood there. Okay, fine. I know that was a fairly standard trailer, but it doesn't necessarily make it any less strange. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter as long. I mean, it's like Inception. If you've never watched Inception with audio description, you should.
Oh my god, that would be an experience in itself, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I'll tell you why. Because if my memory serves, I've not watched the film for a number of years. It's a great film. Well, I thought it was good.
I saw it in cinema. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh wow, yeah. But the cool thing about it was, if my memory serves me well, they tell you which layer of the dream they're in places where it's needed, so you can keep track, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. Yep. That's one of them films that I'm going to go and watch with, or just
audio description
to see how they do it, because it's a total skill set in itself. Trying to do AD.
Try audio describing for community edits of video games.
Yeah.
God of War 2018 transcribing games project video playlist linked in the description if you wish to have a look at how Janissary and I collaborated on that, which was a lot of fun. Putting that together so well that people were convinced it was actually a feature in the game at one point. They were like, how do I turn this on? And I was like, you can't. Because it's not actually a feature, it's just a mock-up. But that was great. But yeah, anyway, partner preview stream was AD'd in part by Janissary as well, doing an absolutely amazing job. But letting me access that as well, even though I watched it after the fact, I wasn't watching it live. But yeah, it was great to be able to see that, including, if I may segue into my little section of this.
Yep.
Crack on.
Including being able to watch the trailer for a new game that I'm very interested in terms of its potential. An interesting little shooter called Blindfire. Pun definitely intended and embraced, I would argue. Because Blindfire is a shooter set almost entirely in darkness. Well, in total darkness, actually, as well. Almost entirely in total darkness. It's a multiplayer effort put out by Double 11.
Yep, I'm just about to say it's Double 11.
Yeah, based in the north.
And so the good thing is they're already, there's been other people saying, "Oh, I want to help as well." I add my voice to the chorus gladly, who would be willing to assist as a consultant, as a person who's wanted to play a multiplayer shooter and have, an equal level of skill. Well, not skill necessarily, but an equal level of actual opportunity to do well. Whether I capitalize on it is a different story. But the idea is great. The fact that ostensibly, from what I've heard from other people so far, the light-based mechanics wouldn't give much of an advantage to a sighted player. So from one story I heard, there were people in a lobby. There were people playing like as a part of a lobby, and they were all right next to each other, and they had no idea. I was like, that's brilliant.
I've watched a couple of videos on it, and the only way I can describe it is if you've ever been inside a Laser Quest arena.
I haven't, unfortunately. I've always wanted to, though.
Yeah, so if you go into like Laser Quest arenas, everything's black, but it's just neon lights everywhere, and everything's fluorescent. So all the paintwork is fluorescent, and it's just UV and neon lights, and that looks like what the game is.
Yeah,
And
that's kind of what the aesthetic they're going for, I think, as well. Because they said about high-grade night vision cameras for spectators was kind of the general idea for the spectator side of it. I think that the questions I want to see answers to, and maybe I'll get answers alongside you at some point. We might be able to go for a match and investigate ourselves. Is how aiming works, because of course we see, different levels of verticality there in that trailer. If I'm remembering it correctly, we see a couple of different levels of verticality. I'm wondering how that's going to work in terms of actually being able to aim in total darkness just based on those sound cues and what little light you have available, which is very little as far as I understand it. So it raises lots of fun questions, and even just having basic things like menu narration, non-wrapping menus, or rather the option to toggle menu wrap as Hellblade 2 did recently, which was amazing to see. They had an option to toggle smart wrapping menus on or off, which was, well, wrapping of menus in general on or off, I think. And seeing a game that could be fully accessible, we were saying about it earlier. It is exciting, but it is also, a very anxious time. I can't think of a better way to describe it. It's a very anxious time of, will they? Will it happen?
Because it's technically early access, isn't it?
Yeah, it is early access. So that is why I'm hopeful in a way.
I mean, they can make the changes if things need to be.
It's early access. They can get feedback from people like myself, from people like all of us here, and likely some of you listening as well and watching this, to be able to sort of mold it into an even better game than it is already. It's looking really solid, though. The sound design was great. It just looked like a really interesting concept.
I am
going
to be picking it up while I have my parents' internet. I think I'm going to play it for a couple of hours this evening, just to
cheeky stream, maybe.
Just a cheeky stream and just see
I'm. There may be a collaboration there, possibly. A live
investigation.
A live skimpressions of sorts, even though I won't be streaming it. But there's definitely potential there for, like, imagine that you get a bunch of gamers without sight in this virtual arena. You're all running around. You're all taking each other out. Like the feeling of that, and then having it, of course, hopefully be able to be elevated to an even higher level where it's like, okay, you get a gamer with no sight at all, stick them in an arena full of sighted players, and there's no
holding their own
advantage.
There's no disparity. Like, the gamer without sight, gets like a however many bunch of kill streak, and it's like, that'd be amazing to see, and I feel like it definitely will start discussions. I mean, it has already. I feel like it's going to be one we're going to have to, pun intended, one we're going to have to keep an eye on. So, it's one of those things where it just kind of appeared out of nowhere, much like I would if I was a player in that game and I just sort of ran up to somebody, just like, oh God, there's a player there. So, being able to have that and maybe have it be an equal opportunity shooter is massive. It's just a question now of waiting and seeing if it can be capitalized on. And I really hope it can. And I would be ecstatic to be a part of that and help it happen. 100%. So that's my little segment there.
No, that's perfect. So Cameron, you wanted to touch on another. We didn't plan this, by the way. We all came in with bits of news, and everyone went, well, I'm talking about the partner program. And I was like, right, we'll just do a special 15-minute slot for the partner preview. So I'm going to quickly mention the fact that Like a Dragon gets even more wilder by dumping a pirate in Hawaii. It's just
Samoa Joe, the wrestler's in there as well.
I love they just go, right, we're going to just make this even more mad and dump a pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Because pirate Yakuza.
Why not? Yeah, just why not? Yeah. I've never really played Like a Dragon, but I have a thing for pirates, so it's now on my list of probably going to get played.
Don't check his internet history.
Okay.
If you see booty typed in, Don't even click it.
It's not what you think it is.
Oh no.
Cameron, you wanted to discuss one of the titles as well because you said
Yeah,
you.
so I haven't actually watched the Xbox event. I'm not gonna try it until you did earlier, so I'll mess it up. But I have kept my eye on this game for a while. So it's the the 1930 style noir shooter mouse PI
Yeah.
for hire,
Mm.
which uses the rubber hose animation style, kind of like Cuphead and the old Steamboat Willie sort of cartoons. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. Something new.
Yeah.
It's you don't usually. I don't think I've seen a shooter that uses that animation style, which was popularized again by Cuphead. But like I said, it's been around for years, and I've even had tattoo designs drawn up of it because I like it so much. Just find the time where to get around.
Yeah, so there is a history of games that have used first-person shooters that have used different art styles. And did anyone ever play the game? Was it 13?
Oh yeah, 13. That was the one where they did the remake, and
Yeah.
was,
I played the remake.
not good.
Yeah,
in
the
terms of
original.
visual.
The original was great, but
Not good. Let's be clear. Not good.
It was
just,
okay. It was serviceable.
It was drastically different from what was expected. I think
yeah.
is the best way to
Yeah,
look at it.
That's a politician's answer. It was drastically different from what we expected. But, yeah.
I mean
that's in their rule book.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting sort of game, that Mouse PI for Hire. I like the idea of it. It's one of those ones that if I could play, I definitely would play just for sheer intrigue alone. And even a game like Cuphead, going back to that, if there was a way to make Cuphead playable, I would gladly bash my head against that brick wall. I would.
Yeah.
This is not said as a brag. This is said as a statement of intent, I guess. I have played God of War Ragnarok pretty much 100%ed on Give Me God of War. So the game's hardest possible difficulty with assistance where I needed it to, get to places and stuff. All the combat was pretty much universally me, other than maybe one or two fights where things were just not working quite right with accessibility potentially.
Yeah.
It's been a while since we did that run. But what I'm trying to say is, if you give me a game that is brutally hard, and I know it's going to be brutally hard as a difficulty, setting or whatever,
yeah,
I will gladly go for it if the accessibility is there. So
that's to highlight a point that we'll make. Accessibility is not just easy mode, because we do like a challenge.
Exactly. I will gladly, I don't mind. Sometimes I want to go through and easily take out everything in a room in 2 seconds. Other times I want to spend about half an hour to go through it and then get taken out by the one guy that comes around the corner that I haven't spotted yet. And it's like, you, ugh. And then you go back in and you're like, right, I know where all of you are now, and that guy at the back.
Yeah, that would be me. I would be like, right, I'm getting you first. You were gone.
Yeah, it's like that's for last time. So yeah, no, I'd be interested to see what Mouse has for accessibility. That would be
I think it's an indie studio, Fumi Games, and it's 2025 release window. So I don't think they'll release the same week as GTA if they're smart. If GTA even releases next year.
GTA is going to be 26. Let's be honest.
Well, who knows? We'll have to find out.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to see what the accessibility is like on that. It'll be. I mean,
because it's been a big jump in accessibility since the last one released.
Well, that's the thing. Even with Red Dead as well, accessibility, stuff for that could have sort of potentially changed. There's a lot of what ifs and interesting,
especially from Rockstar, because it's been 7 years since they released a major title. Is it longer than that?
Yeah,
no, 6. I think it's 6. Isn't it? Because Red Dead was 2018.
Yeah, 2018. So it's 6 years since and we had, like you said, you didn't even start your accessibility journey until 7 years ago. So
well, no, my accessibility journey was before that. The consultancy side.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, to be clear, I've been doing this for around a decade now. Accessibility. So I've been
You're showing your age there, Sightless.
Well, yeah, but the point is, I've been doing this a long time, and I've been thankful to see progress. and I hope that others who've come into the industry afterwards can see that same level of progress, if not a greater level as well. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. It's always good to see developers publishing stuff early and just being like, yeah, this is what we're doing for accessibility. But equally, it'd be even better if there were channels, opportunities, and stuff for game studios to engage with the community, with consultants, with accessibility as a direct concept, principle, whatever, as early in development as possible. Because the earlier you do it, the less you're going to have to pay down the line to retrofit it in.
Yeah.
All you'll be doing is adjusting it as you go through. But yeah, that.
No, you've nailed it.
Sorry for
Nope.
cutting in.
Nailed it. It's almost like you've done this before.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I did say
But
to
yeah,
Cameron,
I'm excited.
we could just
I'm
sit back for
excited.
an hour and a half and let you talk. It'll be fine. Yeah.
No, I was going to say I'm excited as well. The one I will say, I'm excited about a load of those. Let's be honest, I'm excited about a load. But FBC Firebreak, Remedy's multiplayer thing, that's going to be fascinating because Remedy, of course, did work on controls accessibility after launch to great success, and even did a presentation on it, at least one, if not multiple, possibly. So they're now transferring to this multiplayer setting for this. The question is, what fun accessibility things will we or might we see in that we haven't seen before, or ones that return? That there's all sorts of fun questions. That's the other thing. There's the frustration at, oh, I don't know if I'll be able to play this, but there's the fun hope, that little spark of hope of, oh, it might have this, that, and the other. But then you still have to temper your expectations because you have no idea what's going to happen. So it's a weird, fine balance that is really frustrating at times to have to keep. But I try and live on the edge of being hopeful that it will happen. That's just my personal view. But yeah, let's all be excited for Mouse and all the other games next year as well to see what happens.
I think that's a perfect time to end our I won't be able to partner preview patch notes.
Yay! There we go.
There we
I'm
go.
not doing new graphics, really.
We will
Come on,
back in
I'm not made of graphics.
a couple of
Well, I
moments.
kind of am. Kind of am made of graphics because you can see me.
Well, some of us can.
Yeah, true.
And on that note, we will move on to Guess This Mess. We are now on to the part of the episode where we hand over to our guest and they take control for 10-15 minutes as we enter the arena of Guess This Mess.
And it's quite an important section because it usually dictates what's going to be on the thumbnail.
Ooh, okay. I didn't realize that when I was informed about this section, just like a mere matter of relative hours before we started recording this. So I've come up with a few games. I'll see if I can do this justice. I'm I'm just laughing at how ridiculous this is going to end up being, probably. So let's see if we can do. Right. A guy who's been looking for lost artifacts all these years realizes that the one lost artifact
Uncharted.
Oh, God damn it. I was going to try and be clever and give you a specific game, but anyway.
That level.
No, I was going to specifically say realizes that the one lost artifact he's actually found is the family that he didn't know he had for a while.
I guess that's Uncharted 4.
Exactly.
There you go. He would have got that because
So there's that one.
Cameron's
I was nervous about waiting because I was nervous about waiting. I was like, shit, what was going to get? I was going to say Uncharted. He's going to say Uncharted. So
no, I was going to say Indiana Jones, and I was like, the game isn't even out yet.
One of the older games.
Oh no, that would just be a treasure hunter goes and finds a very long stick that belongs to royalty. I.e., Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. But yeah, so that and I thought that might be an easy one. And then, oh God, trying to trying to think of it. I've got one that I definitely want to try and leave till last, and I had a different. Oh, yeah. This isn't a favorite game of mine, but it's a franchise I've always wanted to
that's
play.
fine.
Yeah,
that's
I'll
fine.
give you that. So that one game where you wake up, no idea where you are, you end up eventually on a mountain, and end up having to eat cheese to stop yourself from getting smacked in the face by an enemy that just wants to freeze you.
Jeez.
Wallace and Gromit.
No.
Eats
They're missing a
cheese.
trick with that. Come on, Adman, get the Wallace and Gromit game made.
Enemies that want to freeze you eating cheese on a mountainside. Minecraft? No.
Skyrim.
No, but no.
Not Skyrim?
Yeah, well done.
Has he got my favourite game or one of them? No.
Yes. I was just thinking cheese, and then I was like, oh yeah, massive cheese wheels.
Yeah.
Skyrim.
I hang my head in shame.
It's like Arsenal all over again.
Yeah.
Bottled it right at the last
Collapsed
second.
at the last. Well, we haven't got last. We've got a few more episodes left yet.
Oh.
Oh, right. Here's the last one. I'll see if I can do. I've had this idea, and I want to see if I can actually do it justice for how it's been in my head. So, a father and son have to prevent the world's most ridiculous home invasion from a guy who could either be a handyman or just a really, really angry electrician.
I think I was thinking it was Hello Neighbour, but it's not that.
It's not God of War, is it?
Yep, it is.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was thinking as soon as you said a father son,
I didn't want to go with
God
it
of War
because I thought it'd be too
Talk
obvious.
about God of War. Yeah, same. That's why I didn't mention it.
Yeah, and then I was like, father and son, it's got to be.
The thing was, I wasn't going to just say, "Oh, two people," because then that just makes it not like that. I don't know. I need to give you something to work with.
No, they were good.
We've had God of War before, and that was a totally different description as well.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, what was that? Do you remember what the other version of it was?
Remember a father and his annoying kid.
Yeah, his annoying kid. It wasn't
Annie, wasn't it? It was Annie.
Yeah, and he said annoying child that causes you to not. She was like, it caused me to not want children by the end of it.
Yeah, and you want to yeet him off a cliff.
Yeah.
Oh right, yes.
Yeah. So
I can either that or we just go whatever.
I think there was still. I know you said you weren't expecting Cameron to get the first one that quickly. Nothing will ever beat the.
Oh, here he goes.
Mate, it was incredible. We had someone come on that when it had a banging theme tune on N64.
And on N64.
Oh, either Battletoads or GoldenEye.
Yeah, see, GoldenEye. How did you get?
You know what's ironic?
I
I've
knew
never
you'd
even
get it.
played GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Yeah. I played it like couldn't have played it more than.
I wish I could though, but yeah, it's one of those things though. Whenever you see like N64 music come up, GoldenEye is relatively top of the list. I mean,
and like I say, every time Wobbles mentions it, it was quite a small library of games.
Yeah,
I think it's like 300. I think it's like 350.
See, the number I've got in my head, but I think it's for a different console, is 714, and I can't think which console that is, and that's annoying.
I can tell you it's not PS2.
No.
That's like a couple of thousand.
That's like 2,000 odd, isn't it? The PS2.
I gotta look now. Yeah, PS2.
I can't remember how many it is. It's a lot. It is a massive number.
That's crazy to think there's that many games developed.
4,000.
Whoa!
Jesus.
It's even higher than all of us were thinking. Goodness me.
N64 at 388.
What? Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm thinking of like the NES or the SNES or something. One of those kinds of. I know. Where have I seen that number? I don't know.
NES has got 1,000.
Oh, I don't know. It could have just been a collection of somebody's games on YouTube. That
It might be SNES. You got 717 in North America.
Oh, I was only 3 off.
Yeah.
Wow, I'll take
That's what it
that.
might be. Yeah.
I'll take that. There's probably like 3 unreleased games in that list or something.
It says +4 championship cartridges.
Oh, what?
Oh, wait, you're one off, technically.
One off.
Wait. Oh, yeah. I'll take that. It's like an episode of Richard Osman's House of Games.
Yeah, we wanted a little bit of a game show-esque segment to make it a
House
bit
of Video Games.
Yeah.
We're planning on doing this in seasons. Every season, we're probably going to switch it up.
Yeah.
What we do.
That's a good round. Yeah, I'm glad I could at least get you slightly with the God of War one. And well, to be honest, Skyrim got you both as well.
Yeah, I'm kicking myself on that one.
Yeah, I was trying to think of when you posed that question to me. I was like, what are my favorite games? And then the trouble is, my favorite games, I couldn't figure. Well, partly because my favorites just change so often anyway. I was trying to think of how to do like Diablo, Mortal Kombat, those kinds of things. I mean, Mortal Kombat would just be, people punch and kick each other until ketchup's all over the floor.
We'd be listing them out. Street Fighter, Streets Around the
I was gonna say
the ketchup. I'd be like, yes, it's probably Mortal Kombat. Yeah, ketchup.
Yeah, they have a fight over a massive amount of ketchup.
Yeah. I remember talking to on Twitter, like, just I happen to say, I love Mortal Kombat 1. And one of the animators who'd done some of the fatalities messaged, and I said, which ones do you do? And he showed me the ones and told me the ones he didn't. I was like, damn, you just, damn. You are a sick man.
I mean, the fact that, going back to audio description earlier, that's going to be one of the next sort of big things I think I hope we see come into full force in sort of the next few years. Because, as much as you've got menu narration, you might have nav assist, you might have aim assist, you might have audio cues, whatever. Being able to know what's going on in a game is massively helpful in terms of the cutscenes. It helps that story flow.
Yeah.
If you look at like Baldur's Gate 3, absolutely amazing game. I've wanted to play it since it came out. I can't play it without assistance. And one part of what makes that kind of an awkward experience is there's a really long cinematic at the beginning. And it's like, the cinematic sounds great, the music's brilliant. I've got no idea what's going on, and neither is the person playing alongside me, because they've never seen it either. So having that actual insight from the narrative team, whoever's writing the AD as a part of it, or working with companies that write AD to make it happen, you are then getting actual terminology, actual character names where needed and applicable, and you're getting that grounding in this is exactly what it is. So like even with, Last of Us, Parts 1 and 2, Spider-Man, all of those, there are details in that, even in Mortal Kombat as well, where, you will get the exact details that you need to be like, oh, that's this from earlier. Or it's this bit. If you've played the game before, or if you've heard people talking about it, it's like, oh, it's this section. I remember this. Oh, God. I remember this, as you then realize you're going into like a boss fight or whatever. So AD is going to be, I think, a huge force for change over the next few years. And fun fact, I guess you could say, I'm actually a certified audio describer as well, which was cool. That was a fun thing to go and do. You do a course.
Wobbles' face was just like,
how do you do? Yeah, that's a course. I love that.
Yeah, you do a course. You pay an amount.
Yep.
You pay an amount to sit down and go through various parts of it and write examples and stuff. And it's really interesting. Even though I'm an end user of audio description for many, many years, it was cool to have that extra information and be like, okay, I understand how this works. And of course, places will work differently sometimes. Different rhetoric, different language choices, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, being able to look at it from that lens and be able to sort of get an actual certification in it is really quite cool. And I actually voiced, for those of you who've watched the Accessibility Showcase earlier this year, I voiced the AD for the Summer Showcase.
Yes, you did.
I was very kindly invited by Laura to do that, and that was a lot of fun. But then going further back, I actually voiced the Watch Dogs Legion Tipping Point cinematic, the AD for that, which was really cool to do. But yeah. So no, that round was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing that. It was an interesting challenge for me as well.
It does, yeah. It makes you think differently, especially when we try and tell people to describe them badly.
Yeah.
As well, and people are like, what? It's like, yeah, just describe it badly because it makes it a lot more interesting.
The trouble is, the descriptions I kept coming up with were reasonably good.
Yeah.
Annoyingly so. And I was like, no, I need to sort of downgrade it as if
You
I
have
was
to
like,
downgrade the description.
As if you're
And that's
talking
what-
like a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
well, kind of, and that's why I was like, when I said about God of War Ragnarok, I was like, father and son, they have to stop the world's most ridiculous home invasion from a guy who could be a handyman or the world's angriest
Christ,
electrician.
Yeah.
I was like, that's also, oddly kind of not accurate exactly, but it makes enough sense.
Yeah,
But it's also like, what are you on about? And that was kind of where I was trying to get it. It was like that moment of, what am I even saying? And then I was like, yeah, that's probably a good point to stop downgrading it.
I think it was like both of us said, like, we thought, we talk so much about God of War, it can't be God of War, it'd be too obvious.
Yeah.
But
The funny thing is well, if you look at the back in my
Yep.
shop, for those of you
I
who
can see a
see,
nice big hammer.
Yeah.
exactly, that is the Mjolnir replica. Like you and I, Wobbles, have discussed merch before
Yes.
as well, and we've said about the importance of it. That's a point I'm going to sort of leave here as well. Fact of the matter is, merch is hugely important in terms of accessibility. You might not think it, but it definitely is. And I'm gonna cut as well. If we cut to, I'll just grab a little prop here.
You see, that hammer could be used to put up all the shelves.
Yeah, you can.
You get the nails in.
And we cut back in. So I've been 3D printing for a while with assistance. And one of the first things I ever 3D printed as a big project was this. For those of you that can't see it, it is a tool. I'm trying to describe it without saying what it is immediately. It is a tall, pointed object. It's got 2 points at the top, and there's a sort of hexagonal base on the bottom of it with
I've seen that in Dubai.
strange runes. No, for those of you wondering what it is, this is a marker from Dead Space. And you wouldn't know what that looked like without being able to see it, because I don't think I've ever seen a description of it online. And even when Janissary tried to describe it on stream, we were both like, how would you describe this? I mean, even when I saw this, I was like, how do you describe it?
A twisted crab claw.
Yeah, I was thinking crab claw.
Kind of, I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I was just thinking it's like you've split a building in half, you've cut a couple of corners off, and you've like twisted it slightly. And it's
That's
just
what they do in Dubai. You see half the buildings in Dubai, they are actually like that.
It's just a very strange shape. And the funny thing is, those top edges are very, very pointy indeed.
Yeah, they look from here.
I went to pick it up once, and I was like, "Ow!" Because I'd caught one of the pointy bits. But even pointier than that is this wonderful, wonderful scary face. Given it's a Halloween time of year at this point when we're recording this, I thought this would be fun to show. This is a little caca demon from Doom, and he's got lots of teeth, and he's got several spikes on the top. And the funny story of this is, I actually went to try and lift this print off of the print bed, and stuck my hand down. Didn't know there were going to be pointy horns there, and just straight in. I was like, "Ow!" I was like, "Yeah, I was like, not trying that again."
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Being able to 3D print stuff is great when the files are going to work correctly. But you can't 3D print stuff, at least make it so that people can buy official merch for it and it is reasonably priced. Because then you get that sense of scale, that sense of atmosphere, that sense of world building. So that then, if you said to me, Wobbles, if you said, "Oh, that gun kind of looks like a Lancer in a completely different game," or, I don't know, it looks like he's carrying a chest out of Sea of Thieves, or whatever it is, I can then be like, "Oh, I have a reference for that, a physical reference for it." That's a huge extra part of accessibility that people don't get. There's marketing, so there's alt text, there's AD for your trailers, for all your press releases, for your screenshots, for your funny memes, for whatever it is. There's also, of course, the game itself, but there is also all the merch that you end up putting out, whether that's 3D printed designs, whether that's actual stuff you can buy. Make sure people know what it looks like, as you're buying it, and then when you get it home as well, once you've purchased it, you get that sense of, I understand this now, which is not to be understated. So
I think
multifaceted accessibility.
It's a brilliant point to bring the episode to a close. So I would first of all like to say thank you, Sightless, for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been absolutely wonderful, both of you. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work.
When we all say goodbye, I will say goodbye. Cameron will say goodbye. Then, if you wouldn't mind saying goodbye, who you are, and could you give me your best Gordon Ramsay-esque done?
You've got like a voice changer. I think you can maybe put it down to like the Barry White, like Darth Vader setting.
I could indeed. But what I will say first is, if you want to know where to find me, in terms of reaching out about accessibility questions or collaborations or anything like that, feel free to find me on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, etc., other places as well, as Sightless Kombat, SIGHTLESSKOMBAT. And you can email me as well at hello@sightlesskombat.com as well. But thank you so much for having me, both of you. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Thank you for coming. It's been an absolute pleasure. So that has been episode 11 of To Put It Bluntly. I've been the Wobbly Gamer.
I've been Cameron Keywood.
I have been Sightless Kombat. And we are done.
To put it bluntly.